Now, before I do anything in this video, I think it's time for me to list my top 10 favorite matches for the month of July 2015, which I have to say was a difficult list to make. Probably the hardest list I've had to do since I've started doing these monthly top tens. It was just there's just a lot of really good matches this month, especially when you consider how good Dominion was. New Japan's Dominion show was outstanding, and there were a lot of great matches on that show. New Japan's G1 Climax show or their tournament, I should say, and their series of shows relating to the tournament has yielded a lot of really good matches so far, just in July alone. And I'm sure as we heat up and go into the second half of the tournament in the month of August, I'm sure it'll be just as good. And excuse me. And you had a couple of matches from WWE's Beast in the East show. You had a couple of matches on Raw and Battleground or whatever. There were a lot of matches to choose from, and it was a very difficult list to make. I think because what I do when I make these lists, I every time I see a really good match, I put it down in the list, and then at the end of the month I whittle it down to 10 from there and see if if that's even possible. And when I looked at this month's list, I was like, wow, there's like 30 matches on here. So it was a very difficult list to make, and there was a lot of cheating involved in making this list happen. So a lot of like combining and putting matches all in one spot and doing a lot of that, because there were a lot of great matches this month, and I wanted to highlight as many as possible while also keeping it at a top 10. So this will be my list, and hopefully y'all don't hate me too much. I should note that the ones that you'll probably be mad at that I left off were Kevin Owens versus John Cena at Battleground, which everybody said once again was a match of the year candidate and blah blah blah, all that. I already stated why. I was kind of getting tired of seeing the match, and I didn't feel like putting it on the top 10 list again for the third month in a row. I felt like the match had not worn out its welcome, but I feel like, I've already seen it. Let's put something different on the list. Plus, there was also the whole thing about Cena beating him by tap out, and I'm like, whatever, I don't want to remember that. I'm going to choose to ignore that match ever happened. Cesaro versus Cena, the couple of matches they had on Raw, especially the one really long one, I think it was at the beginning of the month. It was a good match, but as I said, when I reviewed it initially, it was a little clunky in places and kind of went into that finisher fest mode that gets a little tiresome after a while. But it was a breakout performance for Cesaro, certainly, but not one of my favorite matches overall. I'm trying to think, were there any other ones? Oh, and the three-way, Rusev, Cesaro, and Kevin Owens, which was also a really long marathon match. Again, it was a good match, and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't... I didn't think it was the greatest thing ever, like a lot of other people did. I don't know. At least not when compared to the other stuff on the list. So those three matches got left off, and I'm sure I might get some hate for that. So just fair warning right now. Just post all your complaints down below in the comments and hate me all you want. It's completely fine. So with that, let's jump into the list, which I have pulled up right here. All right. At number 10, I have Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the NXT Women's Championship from the July 15th episode of NXT. If you've seen these two work with each other before, you know that they're capable of great things. This was no exception. And with the current move up to the main roster, this kind of felt like their farewell from NXT, although I'm sure Sasha's going to drop the belt at some point. We'll see how that goes. But, just another great match between two great talents, and again, it was kind of a swan song for both of them. Not officially, because Charlotte's wrestled since then, and on NXT, I should add. And Sasha's bound to drop the belt, but this kind of felt like this will be the last time we ever see them work together on NXT. So it was a little emotional and a little, felt like a big deal. So, really enjoyed that match. Really, really good one. Number 9, Chris Jericho versus Neville from WWE's Beast in the East special. This was the opening match, and I thought it was very good. It was, it was nice to see kind of the Chris Jericho of old, the Lionheart Chris Jericho, the pre-WWE Chris Jericho, using the Lion Tamer and all sorts of other things. Those are aspects to Jericho's work and his character that I wish the WWE didn't drop when he came over. way back in 1999, back in the day. But we got to see a little bit of that here, and I thought him and Neville went out there and tore it down, had a hell of an opener, and you can't ask for any more than that. So, yeah, Jericho and Neville did a great job. Thumbs up from me. Number 8, the first match from New Japan's Dominion event. Hiroki Goto versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Fantastic match. Better than the first match they had, where Goto beat Nakamura for the title, which was a huge shock at the time. I never expected Goto to beat Nakamura for the title, but the rematch was set for Dominion, and they once again had a very, very good match. I can't state how good the match was, and just a nice, stiff, hard-hitting, strong-style type of fight. And once again, Goto defeated Nakamura, which was a huge shock. I never thought I'd see Nakamura lose 2 Intercontinental title matches in a row, but we'll see how it pays out. It'll be a little. I expected Nakamura to be a favorite to win the G1 Climax, but I don't know if his injury it kept him out of a match, or I think at least one match. I'm not sure if he missed a second, but I don't know if how strongly that will affect their plans, but we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, Goto and Nakamura had another really great match at what was probably, if Wrestle Kingdom 9 wasn't the show of the year, then it was Dominion. So New Japan did excellent work there. Number 7, a TNA match made the list. Shocker. The Wolves versus Austin Aries and Bobby Roode, the Dirty Heels, in a 30-minute Iron Man match for the vacant TNA Tag Team Championship. Tag team wrestling is something I really enjoyed in my youth, and I take it very seriously. So whenever I see tag team wrestling done wrong, I'm usually a little bit more critical of it. But on the flip side of that, when I see it done right, and when I see it done really well, I really latch onto it and I really like it. And this was one of the tag matches I really, really liked. 30 minutes, the Wolves and the Heels went out there and I think put on a great display. Great athletic display that mostly kept in lines with the structure of a tag team match without becoming like this wild free-for-all, bounce all over the place and bodies flying everywhere and, no psychology or anything, which I've been critical of in recent history. But I thought this match was very good, and I really liked it. It was the best TNA match I've seen in a while, probably since the EC3 Rockstar Spud hair versus hair match that they did a few months ago. Just a very good match, and I really enjoyed it. And in TNA, you don't get a whole lot of very good in this day and age, so whenever you do get something very good, it's good to highlight it. So it's like, hey, even they can do something right once in a while. So yeah, I really enjoyed that match. Number 6 is one of my cheap ones. It's actually 3 matches in one spot. Number 6, the matches from Ultima Lucha Part 1. Last week's edition of Lucha Underground kicked off their Ultima Lucha event. We got Part 1 and featured 3 matches. It was Cage versus the Mac in a Falls Count Anywhere match, which was a wild match. Just a crazy, crazy match. Probably the best match from Part 1. And, it really did the whole Falls Count Anywhere thing that I think a Falls Count Anywhere match should be, in that they never went inside the ring at any point in the match. I don't think there was one spot they did off the apron, and I think that was it. Other than that, they just brawled all over the place, which, if you think about it, from a psychology standpoint, that's what a Falls Count Anywhere match should be. It's like the ring should probably almost never come into play in a Falls Count Anywhere match. That's why I laugh whenever I see a Falls Count Anywhere match. And 80 to 90% of the match is spent inside the ring. And I'm just like, no, it's supposed to be wild and all over the place. You have free range to do whatever you want. So why restrict yourself to just working inside the ring? You can be a little bit more creative. And I thought Cage and the Mac did that. And I thought they had a really cool, brawling power match with plenty of crazy spots and all sorts of wildness. And an insane crowd that just ate it all up. So just indicative of the type of energy that Lucha Underground is able to bring out. Both in their TV audience and in their live crowd in the temple. The second match on the show was Son of Havoc, Ivelisse, and Angelico defending the Trios Championship against the Disciples of Death in a tornado tag. See, this one, they're not tagging in and out thing and bodies are flying all over the place. And this one, it made sense because they made it a tornado tag, so I was completely fine with it. And it was a very entertaining match. Angelico did another crazy dive, proving that he's probably insane. You got a really good moment where Ivelisse and Katrina had a little We'll just call it a cat fight. That was a lot of fun, and Havoc played the underdog really well. Just a really entertaining match, and just a really fun match to watch, and perfectly worthy of being on this show. And of course, it's also historically significant for the brand because this was the first championship title change in company history. There's never been a title change before, but here, Son of Havoc, Evilise, and Angelico lost the Trios Championships to the Disciples of Death, which I'm sure was disappointing to many of the believers who love that team so much. But yeah, it was very, very fun to watch, and again, just added to the excitement of the show. And the final match of Part 1, the main event of Part 1, was Drago versus Hernandez in a Believers Backlash match, which if you don't know what a Believers Backlash match is, it's basically like the match that TNA did, the Fans' Revenge, where it would be like a lumberjack match, only the lumberjacks would have leather straps, and the lumberjacks would be wrestling fans. So, it's the fan interaction. So basically, if you're a heel going into this match, you're fucked. And that's pretty much how it played out here. But, Drago and Hernandez, I thought, had a pretty good feud going, with Hernandez constantly screwing Drago out of everything, including his career and 2 chances at the Lucha Underground World Championship. So it was good that they got this burn off to it, and Drago was basically put in place to get the win and get his revenge and give the babyfaces feel-good win. And it was very entertaining to watch, the way the fans interacted in it, the way Hernandez acted in it, some of the spots they did some really cool tables. They did one really cool table spot. And they did this one really awesome spot where Hernandez did an over-the-top rope dive, but Drago caught him with the Great Muta-like mist as he was coming down, so it was a big crash and burn, and I thought that spot was really cool as well. And, of course, Drago used nunchucks at one point, which, how often do you see that in a wrestling match? So, yeah, it's just very entertaining all around, and that was basically my mini review of Ultima Lucha Part 1. The show was very exciting, very entertaining. It's got me very excited for Part 2 later tonight. More on that later. So yeah, I decided to put all 3 matches in one spot and just to cover Ultima Lucha and highlight just how fun and exciting that show was. Number 5, another match from Dominion. Kenny Omega defending the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship against Kushida. Fantastic match. I really liked the match that the finals to the Best of the Super Juniors tournament where Kushida earned the title shot. I thought that match was unbelievably good, and it really made me excited for this one because it was like, oh, cool. I hope Kushida wins the title, because that'd be disappointing if he had this outstanding match to earn the title shot and then lose the title shot. So it was really cool that he won. And I thought the match they had leading up to his victory was very good as well. It was probably the best match I've ever seen Kenny Omega have. And I've always liked Omega, but this was probably the best match I've ever seen him have. And it was a nice end to his title reign, and Kushida won the belt, and it was great. It was satisfying, and I really, really loved it. So, yeah, good work there as well. Number 4, another match from Dominion. Sakuraba versus Shibata in what was, I guess, a work shoot MMA match would be the best way to describe it. It was very, in America, whenever you try the work shoot thing, it usually doesn't come off very well. Japan, I guess because both guys are trained in MMA, they know what they're doing and know how to make it look good and know how to make the match work. So it was really like this nice, again, work shoot type of style. Very hard hitting, a lot of great counters and moves and everything, and made for a very, very exciting match. Many people said they stole the show. I don't know about that. We'll get to that later, but I did think they went out there and had an absolutely outstanding match. It was very exciting, hard hitting, and fun to watch as well. So, number 4, Shibata versus Sakuraba, great match right there. And number 3, another one of my cheat moves. All my favorite matches from the G1 Climax tournament. This has been the first year I've followed the G1 Climax tournament, and I've been really happy with it so far. Some very exciting matches out of it, and because it's this tournament with so much importance, so much significance, every match feels like it matters, and it's really fun to follow the standings from show to show. I haven't watched every single match from the tournament because I just don't have time, but I have tried to watch matches from every single night. And I've had some very exciting matches come out of it, and I've really, really enjoyed myself. Here's a short list of some of the ones I've really liked. From night 1, I really liked AJ Styles versus Shibata. I thought that was an excellent match. Tanahashi versus Ibushi was an absolutely fantastic match. Great, as you would expect, a great babyface match you'd expect out of Tanahashi and Ibushi. I thought that one was great. Tanahashi versus Tenzan from night 3, I thought was great. I should note that night 2 and night 4 were shot very weird. They had a fixed camera on the ring the entire time, so I felt like that cut some of the excitement a little bit. Apparently that was a cost-cutting measure. Hopefully not too many shows are filmed like that. I haven't seen any since night 4, so hopefully we're kind of behind that. I've heard that maybe nights 10 and 11 are shot that way. Will be shot that way as well. Have those happened yet? I don't know. I'm only caught up through July, so keep that in mind. But that kind of hurt some of the excitement for nights 2 and 4. But overall, not too bad. And I guess I can understand if it's a cost-cutting measure. And they are giving us 20 shows overall for this tournament, so I can live with it. Tanahashi versus Tenzan from night 3 I really liked as well. Tanahashi's had some great matches in this tournament. He's done very, very well. It seems like he's probably overall had the best matches of the tournament so far. Again, I'm only up through night 7, I should note, so I don't know how it's played out since then, but Tanahashi he's really been a shining star in this whole thing. Okada versus Honma from night 4 I thought was very good and a nice underdog match for Honma, who unfortunately I don't think has won any matches yet, so he's not going to get his big run yet. But as far as putting on entertaining matches, he's still doing that. And it's nice to see, and that's another thing, it's nice to see all these different pairings as well, rather than seeing a bunch of rematches again or seeing like 10-man and 8-man tags shoved onto the card, which I realize there are tag matches put on these cards. I have skipped them because I just don't care, and I'm only focused on the tournament. But it is nice to get all these different wrestlers interacting with each other in this round-robin format. Makabe versus Shibata from night 5, really like that match. Shibata won, which kind of surprised me, but again, just a very good, nice, hard-hitting match. Just very, very good. Really liked it. Excuse me. Styles versus Ibushi from night 5 was also amazing. Very, very good. The match they had at Invasion Attack earlier this year was one of my favorite matches of the year, so I was really excited to see this match again, and I did, and it was great, and it was wonderful, and just outstanding. Loved it. Ibushi and Styles, they have pretty good chemistry. I really like it. Tanahashi versus Naito, which was the main event from night 5. Also a great match. Another feather in Tanahashi's cap for as far as like the great matches that he's had in this tournament so far. He's been killing it. And Naito, I'm really liking Naito's heel character. I think he's really doing well with it. And I don't know. It's just a different flavor, different character for him, and it makes for a different dynamic in his matches, and I really enjoy it. From night 6, I liked Iishi versus Carl Anderson, I should say. Sorry. Really liked that match. Again, very nice, hard-hitting, brawling type of match, and I thought both guys meshed together very well. It was very indicative of the matches that Makabe and Iishi had recently this year. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch. Really enjoyed it. And the last match I saw that I really liked was Shibata versus Ibushi from night 7, which they went out there and fucking killed each other. I mean, it looked like they were shooting on each other. It was that hard-hitting and crazy, but very well-worked, very well-wrestled match, and very exciting. So also very entertaining. So yeah, the G1 Climax tournament, major highlight in the month of July, and I wanted to talk about as much of it as possible as I could because it's been very exciting and very good. But moving right along with the top 10 list on my the top 10 list for the month of July. Sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied. Number 2, Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor for the NXT title from WWE Beast in the East. The match that was the true main event of the show. The other thing, the tag match that happened afterwards, was just a bonus match. But yeah, Owens and Balor, I think they have great chemistry. I thought the change of setting in Japan was very, very good. Actually, it was really funny how much of this match, or how much of my top 10 list happened in Japan between Beast in the East and the G1 Climax and Dominion and everything. It's pretty funny. A lot of great stuff comes out of Japan. What can I say? But I thought Owens and Balor had a great match. You had the Demon Balor taking on Kevin Owens, which made it different from the first match they had the week of WrestleMania. Very exciting. I got up very early in the morning to watch the show, and I was not disappointed. I thought they went out there and tore the house down, And Finn Balor won the championship, which made it feel like a big moment and a big payoff. And very satisfying all around. And I can't wait for the rematch at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I think that's going to be great as well. So here's hoping. That's going to be a killer event. And but for right now, I thought Kevin Owens and Finn Balor did a great job, and I really liked it. So good stuff all around there. And number one, my favorite match, my favorite match for the month of July 2015. AJ Styles versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight title from New Japan's Dominion. It was just an outstanding match. I don't know if there's anything else I can say. Totally main event where the counters and the moves they were hitting on each other towards the end of the match were amazing. It felt like a great payoff because AJ had been the champion since February and he'd pretty much been dominant since then. And Okada, who suffered that heartbreaking loss at Wrestle Kingdom 9 where he was left in tears, was put on the path to ultimately redeem himself, get back into the title picture. So this was his ultimate shot at redemption and his big payoff, and it felt like a nice storyline conclusion. And ultimately, Okada won back the title in huge fashion and made for a fantastic main event. If you have not seen this match, I highly recommend going to check it out. It was unbelievably good. Just very good. AJ Styles might be, and I've been following AJ's career for at least a decade, maybe longer. Longer. I've been watching him since 2004. Well, actually, if you want to be technical about it, I've been watching him since the tail end of WCW. But this is probably the best that AJ Styles has ever been. And he's always been very good, but this is probably the best he's ever been. Just he's killing it over there in New Japan, man. He's just having outstanding matches left and right. Really, he's got me excited about everything that he does. He's just very good. And Okada might be my favorite guy in New Japan right now. I love watching him, so it was just a natural mix. And I thought they went out there and had an outstanding main event and one of the most satisfying title matches of the year. So a major thumbs up to both guys. I thought they went out there and had a killer show. So great stuff all around. Now, with the top 10 matches listed, it is now time to list my brand of the month for July 2015. And if you looked at the top 10 list, you'd probably be assuming I'm going to give it to New Japan. And you were absolutely right. And it's not just because they had a lot of great matches. It's because the Dominion event was so good. So good. Arguably the best show of the year. And then they've kicked off the G1 Climax, which is building into bigger things down the road. In short term, it's building up to their big show at the end of this month, where we will determine the winner of the tournament as the winners of Block A and Block B fight each other. But I think New Japan, they just did a lot of quality stuff this month. You had one killer event, you kicked off this tournament, which provided a lot of great matches. So that's enough to me to award New Japan Pro Wrestling the wrestling brand of the month for July 2015. Those are my 2 cents anyway for what my opinion's worth. I don't know how much it's worth, but in any case, that was my list for July. Like I said, it was a very tough list to make, and there was a lot of cheating involved, but I did it, and hopefully you all like the list. And now that I've got that done, I can take the glasses off, no more reading, and go back into my standard look. There we go. Now I feel better. Now I feel more comfortable. But, what I wanted to talk about in this video, 2 main topics. One is SummerSlam, and current updates going on and building towards SummerSlam. Overall, it's interesting. I'll say that. I don't give a shit about Undertaker versus Lesnar. I've said that before. If Undertaker wins, I think it would be a complete waste of Lesnar. And it would basically make the decision to have Lesnar end the streak be completely pointless. Because, I'll give them credit. And at the time, and I still say the actual execution of the end of the streak was poorly done. In terms of building Lesnar up to that point, and the match itself was garbage. But I will give the WWE credit in that post-ending the streak, they have managed to build up Lesnar as a unbeatable monster. Fans view Brock Lesnar as being unbeatable. He ended the streak. He destroyed John Cena. He's a complete fucking monster. So if Undertaker comes back and beats him, there's no reason for Undertaker to get his win back. I'm sorry, there's just none. But if he beats Lesnar at SummerSlam, which I'm almost certain he's going to do, all it does is take all the heat that you gave Lesnar for ending the streak, and you just give it right back to Undertaker. But the streak's still gone, so what? I mean, who cares now? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think Undertaker needs that win back at this point. He already beat Bray at WrestleMania, which they're almost pretending like it didn't happen. Paul Heyman referenced it on Raw, kind of. But I don't know. To me, it would just be a waste of Lesnar to have Undertaker. You start off Lesnar as being an unbeatable force by having him in the streak. That was like the main moment that established Lesnar as like this unbeatable monster. Because before that, it had the match with Cena that he lost. He went, he had those matches with Triple H that made him look like garbage. And he lost one of them, which was stupid. And he had the match with CM Punk, which was awesome, great match, but it was also kind of 50-50 as well. It wasn't like... Punk could have just as easily won that match. So, yeah... Excuse me. And then he destroyed Big Show, which wasn't a big deal because everybody destroys Big Show. But, yeah, by having him beat Undertaker at WrestleMania, that was huge. Like, oh my God, that's like the biggest win you could give anybody. And then when they had him basically squash John Cena at SummerSlam, it really established Lesnar as this unstoppable, unbeatable monster, which can be very useful, where eventually he's got to lose, and you could really make a new star in the process. A lot of us thought it was going to be Roman Reigns, and a lot of us complained that it was going to be Roman Reigns. But in any case, the basic practice is sound. Build up a new star to ultimately take Lesnar down. And now, if Undertaker beats him, it kind of undoes that, I think. And I don't see the value in Undertaker beating him. There's just no... It doesn't undo WrestleMania 30. I mean, you can't... The streak's still gone, so what does it accomplish to give him that win back? I don't see the point. And I think it would be damaging long term, because I feel like the guy that ultimately defeats Lesnar, ultimately beats him, should be a new star that you build up to that point and give him a huge rub by doing that. And I don't know. I don't see the value in Undertaker winning at SummerSlam, and I have this sneaking suspicion that he's going to. And to me, it would be a shame. But in any case, yeah, don't give a shit about Lesnar and Undertaker at all. They're also setting up Seth Rollins versus John Cena, title for title. If Seth Rollins loses to Cena, I'll cry, because there's just no reason for Cena to be the champion at this point. The match they had last week where Cena got his nose broken and got morphed into Fred Flintstone was brutal. I mean, that was nasty. That's one of the sickest things I've ever seen in the ring. I was like, damn, I felt bad for Cena after that. But, again, there's no reason for Cena to win the title. He's like an 80-time champion. Who cares? And if and the value of him being the U.S. champion was that they were able to do this thing with the Open Challenge and to ultimately set him up to be this unbeatable force that ultimately gets taken down. And that could have led to a nice payoff. But if he just wins both titles, that's like, oh, crap. Here we go again. Mr. Babyface, that nobody likes, is the WWE champion again, and the top guy is like, Because that was the other thing about the U.S. Challenge. It was creating fresh matches, like him versus Owens. And yeah, he beat Owens twice, which was stupid, but still, at least you're getting fresh matches out of it. And you're not getting matches that I've seen a billion times. Yeah, I mean, if they ruined Rusev, which they basically ruined Rusev at this point, ruin Rusev, severely hurt Kevin Owens, and do all of that just to ultimately give Cena the WWE title and let him be a double champion, I'll just be like, no, don't do that. That's lame. Stop. Please don't. But unlike the Undertaker-Lesnar match, I don't think Cena's going to win. I have this suspicion that Seth is going to keep the title for a while, which, again, cross fingers, hope I'm right. But, yeah, so that's happening. One undercard match I think could be very good and could be the sleeper hit of the show is Kevin Owens versus Cesaro. They're obviously setting that up. And I think with SummerSlam being 4 hours, which is also very interesting, I don't know how to feel about that because WWE at WrestleMania, in recent years, they've been terrible about time management for WrestleMania. And I'm like, you've got 4 hours. I mean, how do you not know what to do with that time? And it always feels like they're cutting things and moving it to the pre-show, and certain segments go inordinately long and stuff gets dropped. When I went to WrestleMania at 29, they dropped America the Beautiful, which I'm like, really? That's part of the pageantry of the whole thing. And I didn't get that. I finally get to go to a WrestleMania live, and I don't get to do that whole thing. That's lame. But, they're so bad at managing time at WrestleMania, especially in recent years. The worst example of it was probably 27, where Daniel Bryan and Sheamus got bumped off the show, and Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler got what felt like an eternity. And I'm like, how do you not, do you not see something wrong with this setup here or anything? So, but as far as I know, there are no celebrity guests for SummerSlam. Who knows? Maybe Stephen Amell, maybe Arrow will show up at SummerSlam. Who knows? He's showing up on Raw next week, which, cue the jokes. Stardust, you have failed this city, or whatever. You failed this company, or whatever. I don't know. Which I'm sure they're going to have him dress up as the Green Arrow for the show, which could be pretty cool. I don't know. We'll see. But as far as I know, there are no major celebrity guests and or musical acts or anything like that. So maybe they'll manage their time a little bit better. So we'll see how it goes. It'll make SummerSlam more interesting, if nothing else. What was I going to say? But so Kevin Owens versus Cesaro, I think that could be a very good match, especially now that the show's 4 hours. You've got an excuse to give them a lot of time as well. And I think they can have a pretty killer match with each other, like just a Ring of Honor style type of match. And I hope they do, and hopefully they have a sleeper hit, and hopefully they actually figure out something to do with goddamn Cesaro moving past this point, and hopefully Kevin Owens isn't completely ruined following this match, whether he wins or loses, I don't know. But he's probably going to win the NXT title at TakeOver Brooklyn. Again, we'll see, but he's going to have big 2 nights, because if I'm not mistaken, TakeOver Brooklyn is the night before SummerSlam, so he's going to have that main event, and then he's going to be working with Cesaro the next night. So those are 2 pretty killer matches he could have back to back. It's really, really, really fucking cool. So I think that match could be a sleeper hit. You're probably going to get a tag team battle royal at some point, because the way and this is kind of part of the lazy booking, where every segment that involves the tag team division involves every single team and one of the teams on commentary, so it's like you're seeing the same exact thing every week. So you're probably going to see a tag team turmoil match for the tag titles to cram every single team on there. Which, it's nice that the division has depth. I just wish they'd vary up the matches a little bit, because it feels like I'm seeing 4-way tags and 3-way tags and 8-man tags and all sorts of stuff, rather than just letting one team win matches and move up the ranks and have different tag matches every week or something. Why can't I get primetime play, or well, they're the champions, but let's say, why can't I get New Day versus the Matadors one week, and then the Lucha Dragons versus, I don't know, I would say the Ascension, but I've seen that match 8 dozen times, but you know what I mean, vary it up, get the Ascension versus the New Day one week and vary up the matches, and then let one or two let 2 teams win a few matches, and then those 2 teams fight off for number 1 contendership, and then you get the winners face the primetime players. I mean, that's the way it should work, rather than constantly cramming every single team into every segment. But that's my rant. I don't know what the Divas match is going to be at SummerSlam. The Divas Revolution that they're doing with Team Bella and Team Bad, and the newly named the Submission Sorority, which that's an interesting name. And before anybody asks, no, I did not see Paige on the Steve Austin podcast. I heard she was a lot of fun on it, and she's very interesting and bubbly and everything. So, but I don't know. I didn't see the match, so I can't tell you what I thought of, or not the match, but the podcast. So I can't tell you what I thought of it. But the Divas matches lately have been better. Obviously, fans are obviously a lot more excited about the Divas with the new girls added into it, but I'm hoping there's a direction for this. And we're kind of getting to that point where it's all right, we have a bunch of tag matches every week, and we've got a one-on-one match every week, and it's good that they're having more than one match. That's a good thing on every show. That's a good thing, and it highlights the depth of the division. I just hope there's a direction, and this is actually going somewhere, because right now it feels like they're just kind of having a bunch of matches just for the sake of having matches. And it's not really building to anything. It's like, all right, they want to take power in the Divas division and dethrone the Bellas. Okay. What is that building to ultimately? I don't know. Like I've said, like the 3 versus 3 versus 3 elimination style tag match, that's something they could do. And so I don't know what that would accomplish though, but other than just being a really exciting match. But it'd be nice if they started establishing, and it feels like Charlotte's the one that they're building up because Charlotte's been winning every single match it seems. Like building up one of the girls to ultimately face Nikki Bella. Like that should be like the ultimate end game, and to win the title. I've even had the ideas like, look, you've got 9 girls, why not do a round robin tournament? Have all the girls wrestle each other, and eventually you'd get like teammates working against each other, like members of Team Bad and members of Team Bella working against each other, and you get Paige versus Charlotte and Becky Lynch and all sorts of things. It would create a lot of interesting matches while also building up somebody to face Nikki Bella at for the championship. So they could do that as well. That'd be an option. There's not enough time to do that heading into SummerSlam, but it's just a few ideas and things for them to play with. I just hope they have an end game for this, and it's not just let's just have a bunch of matches every week, because that's eventually going to wear thin. And so SummerSlam could have some very interesting things on it. We'll see how it all goes, and we'll see how it all plays out. So that's the end of my discussion on SummerSlam. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is tonight's show, Lucha Underground's season finale, Ultima Lucha. It'll be a 2-hour event. I'm not going to bother giving predictions because the show was taped back in April, and the spoilers are out there if you want to read them. I would highly recommend not doing that. I have avoided spoilers like nobody's business. Because I am so excited about the Lucha Underground brand. I'm so excited about the show, and I love watching the show week to week. I've said it before, it's my favorite wrestling show to watch week to week. That I'm really excited to see how this finale turns out. I mean, there are 5 matches set for the show. You've got the one match that I'm really not that excited about, so I'll get the negative one out of the way, is Blue Demon Jr. versus Tejano Jr. in like the Battle for Mexican Pride or whatever. It was supposed to be Blue Demon versus Chavo, but Chavo got hurt for real, which, would have been better because that's the angle that's been built since the very start of the show. But Chavo got hurt, and that kind of threw a monkey wrench into things, so they kind of had to turn Blue Demon heel and turn Tejano face, and just to make all the pieces fit into place and make the whole thing work. So it's a little uncharacteristically sloppy, but when you consider that Chavo got hurt, it's like, okay, I can kind of understand what happened there. But, excuse me. Excuse me. But yeah, that's the one match I'm kind of on. But everything else I think could be really, really good and really, really exciting. You're getting Alberto El Patron versus Johnny Mundo. For those of you who don't know, that's Alberto Del Rio and John Morrison. They had a match a few months ago to establish a number 1 contender that was outstanding. Great match. And since then, the grudge has gotten a lot more heated. Mundo cost Alberto Del Rio a chance at the title by throwing him through a window, Sean on Marty style. And I think this match is going to be even better. I think they could have a really big show-stealing type of match. And I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be wonderful. And I think that match is just going to blow everything out of the water. It's going to be great. You got Pentagon Jr., who is one of the best characters on the show, one of the best heels. This guy who breaks arms. He's shrouded in mystery. He's brutal. He's violent. He has a Dark Master that he answers to, and we don't know who the Dark Master is yet. And he has coaxed Vampiro out of retirement to face him in a Zero Fear match, whatever the Spanish term for Zero Fear, Zero Miedo or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm sure I butchered that, but which I'm sure is going to be some kind of wild hardcore match. I don't know what Vampiro can do at his age. He's like 48 years old. But Pentagon has been so great, and the feud has been so great, and the storyline's been so great that I'm actually really excited to see this match. Yes, I am excited to see a match with a 48-year-old Vampiro. Is he going to wear the face paint? Is he going to don the whole Vampiro gear? How violent is this match going to be? Are we going to find out who Pentagon's Dark Master is? Just great. It's great storytelling, great build-up, and I think it should make for an exciting match. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with it. I think it's going to be great. You have the 7-way match for the Gift of the Gods Championship, a new championship in Lucha Underground. I almost said TNA. I don't know why, but Lucha Underground's new championship, which very unique. For weeks and weeks and weeks, wrestlers on the show have been fighting for the Aztec medallions, which the owner, Dario Cueto, has said will give the winners a chance at immortality, whatever that means. Turns out, the Aztec medallions are all part of the new championship belt, which is actually a really sweet-looking belt, if you saw the episode. And they put the medallions on the championship belt, and it looks really cool. And basically, the Aztec medallion belt, the Gift of the Gods Championship, is the Money in the Bank Championship. That's basically what it is. It's kind of like the Intercontinental title, U.S. title, TV title type of championship, where it's the mid-card title, but it also establishes that person as being worthy of a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship that they can cash in at any moment, although it can't be the night of. They have to give a week's notice when they cash in their title shot, because as Dario Cueto said, I like to promote my title matches and make money off of them, so you have to give me at least a week's notice if you want to decide to cash in your title shot. Okay, and once the title shot is cashed in, the whole process with winning the Aztec medallion starts all over again. So it's very interesting and very good. And like I said, it's like Money in the Bank without having the shock cash in, which I kind of like because I'm getting tired of the shock cash ins. I've said that before. Now that they've cashed in at WrestleMania, I feel like they've done all they can with that. And I would actually prefer it if they would have the Money in the Bank winner announce his title shot, like maybe 2 weeks after winning it, have him announce the date he wants to take his title shot and make and then build up to that point rather than doing the shot cash in. I think that would be better because I like I said, I feel like they've gotten all they can out of it. But anyway, I feel like this championship and this whole setup is very interesting. It takes advantage of for the people that watched WCW back in the day, they would always have rankings, and the U.S. champion would always be ranked the number one contender, but he could never take the title shot because he was always off defending the U.S. title or whatever. So this is a way of kind of like acknowledging that the mid-card champion is the number one contender, and also making a big thing out of it. So it's really, really cool, and I think it's a nice concept. And hopefully the 7-way match is very good. You've got Phoenix, you've got King Cuerno, who are two of my favorites. You have Sexy Star, you have Big Rick, who adds power to the mix. You've got Jack Evans, anybody who's followed Jack Evans knows how crazy he is and how great he is. You've got Bengala, who's new to Lucha Underground, and who's the last one? God damn it, I'm going to get mad at myself. Aerostar, that's another great high flyer. Okay, so you've got those 7, and I'm sure this match is going to be a wild spot fest. It's kind of like, it's Lucha Underground's version of the Money in the Bank without it feeling like a complete ripoff, like TNA's Feast or Fired is. Unfortunately, like the second I saw Feast or Fired, I'm like, so this is a shitty version of Money in the Bank. Whereas this is kind of like, it's like Money in the Bank, but it's got Lucha Underground's own unique flavor to it, and I think it's very interesting, very cool, and I'm very excited to see who wins it. I'm hoping it goes to either Phoenix or King Cuerno. Those are the two that I would want to get it. But there's that match, and have I gotten through all of them? 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, I'm like, okay, I've gotten through everything but the main event. I'm trying to remember everything off the top of my head. Main event of the show, Prince Puma versus Mil Muertes for the Lucha Underground Championship, which I think is going to be an outstanding match. You've had this underdog babyface champion who manages to get by and win by hook or by crook and come across all these... he overcomes the odds, shall we say, over the likes of Cage and Hernandez and Johnny Mundo. And Prince Puma, Ricochet, for you indie fans out there, has been a great champion, has great matches all the time, and it's very easy to like him. He's a great babyface hero to have on the show. And then on the other side of that, you have Mil Muertes, who's been he's kind of like Lucha Underground's version of The Undertaker or of Kane or something akin to that. He's just this unstoppable monster that just kills everyone in his path and just destroys and squashes everybody. He's beaten Drago. He's beaten Phoenix into a pulp. He's destroyed just about everybody he's faced. And going through the entire history of Lucha Underground, he lost in the Aztec Warfare match, and that was after being double teamed by Johnny Mundo and Prince Puma. And he lost 2 matches to Phoenix. Other than that, he's pretty much destroyed everybody, including Phoenix, who has defeated him. They had the death match where he powerbombed Phoenix all the way to hell. So, Mil Muertes is successfully built into an unstoppable force and has this great character and presentation where he's the master of death. And, he was, as a child, an earthquake ravaged his hometown, and his family died in the earthquake, and he crawled out of the rubble holding the magic stone that gave him the power of death, which sounds ridiculous, but it's so fucking cool. And again, the magic stone kind of works as like his version of the urn, like the Undertaker's urn. And Katrina is like a sexy, hot version of Paul Bearer. In a way, damn, she is smoking. Just want to throw that out there. And I want to say, too, Melissa Santos, the ring announcer, also very sexy, very nice. I always enjoy looking at her. And she's also a very good ring announcer. Very, very good ring announcer. So Lucha Underground, they just do a lot of things right. But if you go back and watch the show from the beginning, which I highly recommend, start with episode 1 and watch all the way through. It feels like Puma versus Mil Muertes was the end game all along. It feels like that they've been putting all the pieces in place and setting everything up to ultimately get to this point, to get to this title match. And it works so beautifully, and I'm very excited to see the match. I'm almost certain that Mil Muertes is going to win the title. Of course, the show's been taped, but I've avoided the result, and I'm hoping they tear the house down and have an excellent match. And Mil Muertes is going to win the title most likely and be a nice culmination to what has been a great season of Lucha Underground. I want to put over this show even farther. Obviously, if you have the El Rey Network, you can watch it that way. I'm sure you can find it on the internet as well. And if you're going to watch Ultima Lucha, it's on tonight starting at 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock Eastern, I should say. And I'm sure it's going to be one hell of an event. It's going to be their big 2-hour finale, and it's going to... hopefully there's a season 2. I mean, I'm hoping we get more out of this because there's so many things they can do in season 2 that'll work, and so many great storylines that they've had going throughout this entire season. The whole thing with Black Lotus wanting to get revenge on Matanza, and who's Matanza? Is Matanza going to be revealed? Is Pentagon's Dark Master going to be revealed? And all sorts of other things going on. It's just a great, wonderful wrestling show that has all the action, all the excitement, all the wrestling logic that I want out of a wrestling show, but presented in this wonderful way where it feels very cinematic and it feels like you're watching a TV drama. And it presents wrestling in a way that I never envisioned it could be, and it does so very, very well. And the characters feel real. Even the ones that are wild and out there, like Drago being half dragon and being a literal dragon or whatever, feels like a real character with... wants and goals and motivations. King Cuerno, also, same thing. Mil Muertes, Prince Puma, Conan, who's outstanding. Great mouthpiece for Prince Puma, the champion. Mundo, Alberto El Patron, Son of Havoc, Ivelisse, Angelico, all these other guys, they all feel like real people in this universe and real characters, and overall it just feels like a really well-constructed universe. And probably the best thought out, most exciting wrestling program available to American audiences today. It's just, it's exciting and it's fun to watch, and I love it, and I can't put it over enough. And I'm hoping that tonight's season finale is a nice culmination. I hope we get more in season 2. I hope Matanza lives up to the hype, and I hope he's a great character. I hope Dario Cueto continues to be... just a great... this is a guy that... one of the things that I've hated, that I've gotten sick of in pro wrestling is the use of the evil boss and how old that trope has gotten. And Dario has completely reinvented it and made it work. And he's such a great slimeball character because he acts like a slimy promoter that wants to make money, not just a guy that's out to screw the baby faces because I'm evil. And, there's actually, like, a thought process to his motivations. Putting Hernandez in a Believers Backlash match because he wants violence and he wants to excite the fans. Even though he's like a slimy promoter, he'll screw over the heels to get what he wants. Just little things like that make him feel like a real character. And the actor they got to play him is outstanding. He's very, very good. I think he's kind of the MVP of the show. He's kind of the backbone of the whole thing and makes the whole universe work. But yeah, if you have not watched Lucha Underground, I highly recommend you check it out. I'm hoping that there's like a DVD or Blu-ray box set release. I would totally buy this. I'm not kidding. I would totally buy this box set and own all of season 1 on DVD. I would totally watch it again, and I look forward. I might actually go back and watch it again. I really was that excited with it. And if you want to watch Ultima Lucha tonight and haven't caught up on Lucha Underground, I'll post a link in the description box, but El Rey on their YouTube channel released a 37-minute recap, recapping the first 37 episodes of Lucha Underground leading into Ultima Lucha. So I think it's 37 hours and 37 minutes, I think is what it's called. So check that out, watch it. And it's basically all of the recaps from each episode condensed into one big video. So, watch that, and it'll get you caught up and hopefully get you to really excited on the show. And you can check out Lucha Underground a lot. You can check out Ultima Lucha tonight and be excited right along with me. But, looking forward to the event. I'm sure it's going to be great. But that is all I have for now. And, again, I can't recommend it enough. Check out Ultima Lucha tonight. I will certainly have a review up sometime this weekend. I will definitely get a review up, and certainly I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the show, and I'm going to praise it and love it, and just go all gaga talking about it like I do every time I talk about Lucha Underground. But I love the show that much. It's that great. So, that, like I said, that is all I have for now. I'll have another video up this weekend. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, and that is, like I said, that's all I got for now. So stay tuned and enjoy the rest of your week.